home stretch before the election here. I know you've done a ton of fundraising for Senate candidates, for the Harris campaign. Are there particular state ballot measures that you're planning to get really involved on? And specifically, it would be great if you could weigh in on Prop 36. I mean, you said you don't support that policy. Are you planning to campaign against
I'm going to do what I can. I got 991 things that are in front of me first. That's the number of bills, quite literally, 991, that are coming to my desk. I think we have about 100 that I'll start going through starting tomorrow and Friday. So it's an enormous task, that alone, let alone the task of supporting these candidates, et cetera. So, look, I don't know the answer to that question, but Prop 36 is bring us back to the 1980s. It's about mass incarceration, not mass treatment. What an insult. I mean, what an actual insult it is to say it's about mass treatment when there's not a dollar attached to it, not $1 attached to it. And I hope there's some accountability to those that are asserting that they're challenged to say, well, wait, where are the resources? Not a dollar. It's about mass incarceration. It's about bringing us back to the failed war on drugs. It's nothing you hear now, and they're not even talking about retail theft. Remember, the 950 threshold is not even in there. That was the ultimate tell that this was never about that. There are 22 counties. I'll remind you, stress test this, 22 counties that don't have one residential treatment bed today with all the resources we flooded into these counties, not one. And they're talking about mass treatment. So I have deeply held points of view, but I'm not naive about the politics of this. And I'm not naive about politicians playing to the politics. But there's also principles. And I spent my life being a champion for the underdog, for diverse communities that have been disproportionately impacted by this war on drugs. And I will not stand idly by and play into the prevailing winds that some politicians in the state are.
So to follow up on that, what you said about treatment beds, I mean, one thing that proponents of that measure have been pointing to is Prop 1, which obviously you championed, and they've been saying, you know,
It wasn't designed for Prop 36.
So is that your
It wasn't designed over the course of years with this initiative in mind. It was designed over the course of years in partnership with communities all across this state to address the mental health crisis in the state of California, to provide flexibility as it relates to the issue of housing and homelessness. It was a reform of the Mental Health Services Act, and it was a set aside of $6.38 billion for new housing and new construction. Right now, you have counties that are refusing to even implement conservatorship reform because they lay claim they don't have the workforce today, let alone the workforce tomorrow, on a mass quote-unquote treatment plan. So, no, I find that rather specious and convenient for those that are looking for an easy answer to a difficult question, one they simply aren't equipped to answer because they don't know what they're talking about. And those, forgive me, are not words I say lightly. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not looking at this from the prism of the state of California. They're not looking at the prism of reality of what's happening on the ground. That mandate will increase incarceration. It will increase the cost of the taxpayers by billions and billions of dollars. Don't take my word for it. The independent legislative analyst said that. That's money we won't have for other priorities in this state. And it's also an initiative that cannot be reformed unless we go back to the voters. I pray the people of the state of California take time, review this, and consider how manipulative those arguments are and how ill-founded they are.